Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Deception, and I talk about the New York Football Giants. I just released a video yesterday talking about my thoughts and opinions about the benching of Daniel Jones, the manner of which it happened, where he went from first string to third string. And I said in that video that it seemed very disrespectful. It embarrassed Daniel Jones. It wasn't a graceful transition of power between the Tommy DeVito and Daniel Jones. Not that it had anything to do with Tommy DeVito, but the way Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen, John Mara, the entire front office of the New York Giants handled this whole situation. It was BS, and I stated as much. That was the opinion I had yesterday, and I was not surprised at all when I saw that Daniel Jones formally requested to be released from the New York Football Giants, and they've granted him that request. So the era of Daniel Jones, the last 6 years of Daniel Jones is over. Daniel Jones will not play another snap for the New York Football Giants. What does this mean? Essentially going forward, if you want my opinion is I'm relieved. I'm relieved that we never have to talk about Daniel Jones ever again. I'm relieved that the most divisive player between the fan base is finally off the team, and now people who have only blamed Daniel Jones for the last fucking 6 years can finally start, complaining about something else. You could finally see what everybody else has been seeing about this team, and whether it be Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock, or a rookie quarterback, this team is going to have growing pains going forward. And how are those fans going to, react to that growing pain? Because the Giants have put themselves in a bit of a lose-lose situation here in regards to the rest of the NFL season that we've yet to play. Because look, you bring in someone like Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito's a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. We all want to see him win. Look, I'm a fucking Tommy DeVito fan. And I've said in my past videos, I don't care who's under center for the New York Giants, whoever that quarterback happens to be, I am going to root for them to succeed. It's not going to change for Tommy DeVito. But now that, like I said, Daniel Jones is gone. Now we have, fresh meat at the quarterback position. Brian Daboll seems like, I'll be able to work with this guy, because if you didn't think you were going to be able to work with him, why would you, leapfrog him over someone like Drew Lock, someone you paid $5 million to come here with the assumption that he was going to be the quarterback, the next up on the quarterback position? Because, why else would you come here unless you had some kind of not a guarantee? That would be ridiculous. I think that's what Russell Wilson was looking for. But when you bring in someone like Drew Lock and say, hey, man, it's not really looking too great for Daniel Jones, that probably at some point in the season, most likely at the bye week, he's going to be benched, and we're most likely going to be bringing you in to fulfill that position. But I digress. Looking forward to the remainder of this season, like I said, the Giants have put themselves in a lose-lose situation, because you're going to have fans that want to win, and you're going to have fans that want to tank and lose. But let's say we go the rest of the season and we don't win another game, and that might be good for our draft stock. But what does that say about Brian Daboll as a head coach? What does that say about, Joe Schoen as a talent evaluator? About not, I'm sure he has, some kind of a say on who's going to be the next starting quarterback of the Giants, and saying that Tommy DeVito should start over someone like Drew Lock. So if we don't win another game, who's going to be to blame then? Because regardless of what you want to happen, whether or not you want us to lose, we're still losing. So is that Tommy DeVito's fault? Is he going to get a pass as the Giants quarterback? Is it going to be Brian Daboll's fault? Is it going to be Joe Schoen's fault? Is it going to be on the defense? I feel like no matter what the Giants do for the remainder of the season, and I feel like that's why at least Daniel Jones was kept around so long, because he was literally the shield between the bureaucrats of this fucking organization and the fan base. They were using him as a fucking shield this entire time, but now that he's gone, look, like I said, I'm relieved that Daniel Jones is no longer a part of the New York Giants, because now he doesn't have to face the ridicule of the fan base week in and week out. He doesn't have to basically suffer in silence anymore. He can actually choose where he wants to go. He could sign with any team that he wants. And perhaps maybe he can rekindle his career as a quarterback in the NFL. But I'm just curious on what the fan base is going to be, how they're going to react going forward in this season. Because if we win games, then people are going to be, mad that we weren't able to get the quarterback that we want. Because if we do win games, let's say we go out there and we win like 4 games, there's really only 2 quarterbacks in this draft that I feel like the Giants are realistically looking at. And we're probably going to be playing ourselves out of contention for that, or we're going to lose out on all these games. And then we're going to be having questions about whether or not Brian Daboll is going to be the head coach going forward, and if Joe Schoen's going to be the general manager going forward. And I don't want anybody to really lose their jobs. I just want them to do their fucking jobs. And we shouldn't be having this fucking conversation on week 11 in their 3rd year. But we are. I mean, you guys want to talk about Daniel Jones having a long leash? What about these motherfuckers that are making all these decisions in the organization? I mean, does John Mara have as short of a leash as Daniel Jones? Does Brian Daboll or Joe Schoen have the short leash? Like, even though Daniel Jones is out of the building, the echoes of his presence here are going to be felt in the locker room for not only for the rest of this year, but most likely next year, depending on how the rest of the season plays out. And either we're going to finish with the understanding that, Brian Daboll is a good coach and he was able to get more out of Tommy DeVito than he was of Daniel Jones. And then I would say excited going into next year, but what if we're picking, 7th in the fucking draft? Like, what do we do then? And people are going to say, oh, you're able to trade up, but look how many quarterback hungry teams there are in the NFL right now. There's like 8 teams on the NFL that need quarterbacks. And the majority of the teams in front of us are going to be one of those teams. And then, so you need a trade partner. You need 2 people to dance. But then even if you do find someone that is willing to trade with you, well, the Giants just showed the entire league their hand by just letting Daniel Jones walk. Now we have no leverage because they're going to say, I know you need a quarterback. I know you're thirsty for a quarterback. Give me 3 first-round picks to move up 5 spots in the draft, 6 spots in the draft. Give me 5, or give me 3 first-round picks, or give me 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. And I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen with the Giants. And I know if there's one thing that I've liked about Joe Schoen is that I feel like he gets value for players. I feel like he's like his trading, his free agency moves have been relatively solid. I don't know if he's going to want to pay that much. I mean, we were trying to trade up for a quarterback last year in the last draft, and he was pretty. I mean, he was clutching his pearls pretty fucking hard, and he was acting pretty arrogant about it. But that's neither here nor there. But I don't know if he's going to want to pony up the dough to do that. But the thing is, if he doesn't, then he doesn't have a job next year. If you don't bring in a rookie quarterback, is literally buying you at least 1 or 2 more years in the league as a general manager or a head coach. So we're probably going to get taken advantage of by another team if we end up winning, or we're going to end up with a high pick and we're going to have questions about our head coach. We're going to have questions about this front office. Not that we don't already have those questions, but it's a disgusting place for the Giants to be in right now. And as a fan, I'm really worried about the future. And I want to ask everybody else this who's listening right now, and thank you guys again so much for watching. If we didn't share a state or a stadium with another team, that's probably as hard as it is to believe, there are probably other organizations out there that are more dysfunctional than the Giants, and that would be the Jets. If the Jets weren't such a dumpster fire, if the Jets weren't fucking lighting up the media with their incompetence on a week in and week out on a daily basis, Giants would be next on the list to be fucking clowned on. And I feel like most fans they just want like media recognition. They want like the attaboys from like this corporate shill fucking media, and they turn their back on players and on people in this organization that I feel like are actually here for the team and not just for themselves. But essentially what I'm trying to say is that the Giants, I feel like, have been a dumpster fire just as long as the Jets have been, but it's been misdiagnosed or undiagnosed for so long because there's been, you know, basically big red flags everywhere else where the media has had other stories to talk about. But now the Giants are kind of in the spot where it's going to be hard to ignore what they do going forward. And it's also funny when I'm seeing these like media pundits taking shots at my previous quarterback, and you know what? I'm not going to talk about Daniel Jones anymore. He's not even on the Giants, but it's just so fucking funny to me that these motherfuckers will talk all of that crap about Daniel Jones while he's on the Giants, and then as soon as he's released, oh man, the Raiders could really use him, or oh man, the Colts could pick him up, or even the Jets could pick him up. And then I have the freaking Giants fans saying we should trade for freaking Aaron Rodgers as a bridge quarterback. I don't recognize this freaking fan base. I mean, the fan base of the Giants is just as dysfunctional as the organization itself. And maybe Daniel Jones leaving isn't going to solve all these problems between the fans. But I think it's a start. And I think really whatever happens, we're going to be able to actually have a proper evaluation of what's going on behind the scenes, because there's not going to be the Daniel Jones firewall anymore for anybody to hide behind. There's not going to be the, oh, we didn't win because Daniel, or we can't do this because of Daniel. We're 2-8 because of Daniel. We didn't score in the red zone because of Daniel Jones. We didn't do this. We didn't do that. $40 million. Ooh, oh my effing God. So, if you guys, like I said, if you guys want my opinion on this, it's relief, but it's trepidation towards the future of where this team that I've grown up watching, where it's going to go. Because I don't see a whole lot of happy outcomes, because like I said, either we win and everything's great, but we're going to have to trade literally not only our future, but our grandkids' future to be able to go up there and get a quarterback that probably isn't like, if that quarterback doesn't hit, if we end up trading to go get him, that's going to set back the organization longer than anything Daniel Jones has ever done. And if we lose and we end up with a top 5 pick, and now we have our reservations about Brian Daboll, and then we allow him to fire or to get his quarterback, and let's say it doesn't work out next year. Well, now we did the same thing to this rookie quarterback that we did to Daniel Jones 6 years ago when we fired Pat Shurmur after Daniel Jones' first year. That first year was Daniel Jones' best year in the league. He has never reached those heights ever since we fired the motherfucker that drafted him. And we're going to do the same thing to the next quarterback, if that's the case. I hope it's not, but this team has not given me any reason for optimism for our future, because this team was a bad team before Daniel Jones got here. It was a bad team with Daniel Jones, and the logical conclusion is that we're going to be a bad team after he's long and gone, which he already is. And it's going to start this Sunday against the Buccaneers, against probably some familiar faces too. We're going to pick up Sterling Shepard, and I think our previous special teams coach, Thomas McGahee, is also working for the Buccaneers, and I know there's some other players on there that were previously on the Giants. But anyway, just wanted to get a video out there and kind of just voice some of this venom that I have welling up inside me, because it just pisses me off. You see people that it's like, you can talk shit about, like, you know, someone in your family, but when you hear other people talking about it, it's like, dude, that's where you draw the line. And I'm seeing a lot of people from a lot of other fans or fan bases and media that just, you know, coming out just to kick him while he's down and dance on his grave. And I'll say it one more time. Daniel Jones did not deserve the embarrassment that the Giants offered him. And I'm not surprised that he's gone. But as a team, this isn't a time for celebration. This is a time to get your asses to work. There are no moral victories in the NFL. And Tommy DeVito, I'm rooting for you, man. Tommy Cutlet's time. Put on the Infinity Cutlet. Freaking Thanos' team is what I'm hoping for. But anyway, I'm rambling. I'm sorry, guys. If you guys made it this long, I really appreciate you. And hopefully, we're celebrating a win this coming Sunday versus the Buccaneers. And I'll be there to talk about it. But until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.